How's that? Good evening to all of you, and a special welcome to our sisters this evening. We are here for the second annual Sisters Anti-Trafficking Awards 2024. The first awards, the inaugural awards, were held in London last year. My name is Delia Gallagher. I am a journalist here at the Vatican, and I am delighted to be your host this evening. We are here to talk tonight about modern slavery, about anti-trafficking measures, and of course, the important work that sisters worldwide do to help vulnerable communities. And you know, one of the great privileges of my job is that I get to travel the world with Pope Francis. And anywhere we go in any country, on all continents, we of course are able to witness firsthand the important work that sisters do for vulnerable communities. And I remember just last year in South Sudan, we were in Juba. We were at the Cathedral of St. Therese, which is the main cathedral there in Juba, waiting with thousands of others outside the cathedral for the Pope to arrive. And I just started talking to a sister next to me, and she shared with me that she was one of the sisters on a bus in 2021 that was ambushed by armed men. Some of you may have heard of that story. There were 7 sisters on the bus, and 2 of her sisters were killed. Sisters of the Sacred Heart. And that brought home to me just how dangerous a lot of the sisters work on the front lines. When we say front lines, what do we really mean? We mean those dangerous, difficult, unstable situations, and they don't have to just be in conflict regions like South Sudan. I know you all are quite aware of that. So we are here tonight to talk about these issues, to recognize our sisters. We know that global trafficking, unfortunately, is on the rise. And this is due to conflict, to the pandemic, to the climate disruption, but we also know that sisters are there to help get children into school, to help with formation, to start programs for survivors, and particularly also to advocate for legislation, which is very important. So despite the large numbers of sisters that are working around the world, however, you don't receive the recognition and the resources that you need. And that is the reason why our hosts this evening, who are ORISE, an anti-slavery charity, the Conrad N. Hilton Foundation, and the International Union of Superiors General, are offering these awards tonight to increase the awareness of what sisters are doing around the world. And I'm happy that there are journalists here as well who will be reporting on this event. There is also an important need for collaboration between nonprofits, between other organizations that are working in the anti-trafficking space and modern slavery space with the religious congregations. That is another purpose, of course, of bringing these awards to people's attention and ultimately to help deepen the protections for the vulnerable communities. So the awards tonight are going to be multifaceted. We have a number of speakers first, and let me remind you, in case any of you need it, we have the translation, simultaneous translation on your headphones. I can tell you the channels, or we can maybe put up one of the, there you go. So you can see whatever language you might need to better understand this evening. I'll give you a little overview of the program. We will first have welcome address from Sister Mary Barron, who is the president of the International Union of Superiors General. We will then have our keynote address from Sister Natalie Beckhart. Sister Natalie is the Undersecretary for the General Secretariat for the Synod of Bishops here at the Vatican. We are delighted to be able to have her as our keynote speaker. After that, we will have testimonies from 3 people who are involved in anti-trafficking and modern slavery and the fight against that. They are Mary Mugo from Kenya, Talitha Kum, Youth Ambassador from Kenya, Nasreen Sheikh, also here with us. Very happy to see you, Nasreen. Nasreen is a survivor and an advocate from Nepal. And we also have Kevin Highland here. Kevin is formerly the UK's independent anti-slavery commissioner. He is now the chairman of Arise Foundation. We will hear from them shortly, and then we will have our awards. So without further ado, would you all please help me to welcome Sister Mary Barron to the stage. Thank you, Delia. Honorable ambassadors, esteemed church leaders, distinguished guests, it's with great joy and a deep sense of privilege that the International Union of Superiors General welcomes you to this prestigious gathering where we celebrate the remarkable contributions of Catholic sisters in the fight against human trafficking. It is our privilege as UISG to host this year. Last year we were in London and Arise hosted. And as Delia has said, these awards are in their infancy. It's only the second year. And last year, in fact, it was October. So it's much earlier this year. We are celebrating in May. And we wanted to do that to coincide with the second General Assembly of Talitha Cum, which we have just completed in Sacrofano, and also to coincide with the 15th anniversary of Talitha Cum. For those of you who don't know Talitha Cum, but I imagine nobody in this room is unfamiliar with Talitha Cum, it is the sister-led initiative to eradicate human trafficking. It is a network of networks around the world. And since Saturday last, Talitha Cum representatives from across the globe have been gathered in Sacrofano, and I'm very pleased to say that they are here in this room, from 71 countries. They shared their experiences, listened to different testimonies, and together crafted a way forward for the next 5 years. The SATAs are a wonderful culmination of the work of this assembly. It's a great way to end the week. Because as we celebrate the remarkable achievements and the spirit of excellence that our award recipients embody, the three recipients represent all those dedicated people who work together in grassroots networks to fight against this modern slavery that is human trafficking. The presence of our distinguished guests, ambassadors from various countries, revered dignitaries of from the church, leaders and representatives of many organizations, this brings a profound richness to our gathering. Your commitment to fostering dialogue and understanding across borders and beliefs aligns with the very essence of the SATA Awards, to honor those who transcend boundaries for the greater good. We are inspired by your leadership and guided by your wisdom, and grateful for the support that you extend to our community. May tonight's celebration be a reflection of the harmony and hope that we aspire to cultivate in the world. On behalf of the UISG, and there are many staff and board members here, I extend a heartfelt welcome to all and express our sincerest appreciation for your participation. May this event be an occasion of joy, inspiration, and enduring partnerships in the struggle to end all forms of modern slavery. Thank you. We'll move right into a chance to hear from our panelists right now. We'll have first Mary Mugo. Mary, would you like to come up to the stage? Mary describes herself as a passionate Talitha Kum youth ambassador from Kenya and human rights defender. She is the founder of Sima Nami organization, which means talk to me. And the organization is dedicated to addressing human trafficking, gender-based violence, mental health. Come, welcome.
Good evening and thank you. I'm so honored and privileged to be here. I don't take it for granted, and thank you for giving me this opportunity. And all protocols observed. My name is Mary, Talitha Kum Youth Ambassador from Kenya. I stand before you today, not just as a speaker, but a messenger of hope, a fighter for justice, and a voice for the voiceless. My journey into the heart of the darkness that is human trafficking began not with a grand ambition or lofty goals, but with simple yet profound realization that the world we live in is not always just, and that the most vulnerable among us often suffer in silence. It was this realization that lit a fire within me, a fire fueled by empathy, ignited by outrage, and fueled by unwavering belief in the inherent dignity and worthy of every human being. And it was this fire that led me to Talitha Kum, a beacon of hope in the fight against human trafficking and modern day slavery. Through Talitha Kum, I received the things, the knowledge, and the tools to become a catalyst for change, to stand up and speak against the atrocities being committed against the most vulnerable members of our society. But more than that, Talitha Kum gave me something far more valuable, a sense of purpose, a sense of belonging, and a sense of solidarity with those who have been victimized by trafficking. Armed with this new profound sense of purpose, I returned back home with a mission to turn my outrage into action, to shine a light into the darkest corners of society, and to offer a glimmer of hope to those who have been robbed of their freedom and their dignity. And so, Sima Nami was born, a youth-led organization based in Kenya, dedicated to combating human trafficking, providing support to survivors. Named after a Swahili phrase, meaning speak with me, Sima Nami is more than just an organization. It is a lifeline for those who have been silenced by exploitation and abuse. It is a living proof of the great work Talitha Kum International is doing in the world. And through this, I have had a privilege of interacting with survivors, brave men, women, and children whose stories have left an indelible mark on my soul. I've heard tales of unimaginable suffering and unspeakable horrors, but I have also witnessed incredible resilience, strength, and courage in the faces of adversity. These survivors are not just statistics. They are mothers, fathers, sons, and daughters. They are human beings with hopes, dreams, and aspiration. And it is their stories that fuel my passion, that drive my determination, and that remind me of the urgency of our mission. But our work is far from over. Human trafficking continues to devastate communities around the world, tearing families apart, destroying lives, and robbing individuals of their freedom and their dignity. That is why it is very imperative that we engage the next generation in this crucial battle. The youths. The youths of today are not just leaders of tomorrow. They are the change makers of today. With their passion, their energy, and their idealism, they possess the power to drive meaningful progress in the fight against human trafficking. But to engage the youths, we must meet them where they are. We must harness the power of social media, technology, and popular cultures to raise awareness, spark a conversation, and mobilize action. We must provide young people with the knowledge, the skills, and the resources they need to become advocates of change in their communities and beyond. And we must empower them to use their voices, their talent, and their creativity to change the status quo, to break down the barriers, and to build a future where every individual is free to live with dignity, equality, and justice. As a Taritha Kum Youth Ambassador and a founder of Semanami, I am committed to continue this work, as well as my fellow youth ambassador present today, to advocate for the rights of survivors, raise awareness about the realities of human trafficking, and to inspire others to join the fight for justice. But we cannot do it alone. We need your help. We need your support. We need your solidarity. Together, we can create a world where human trafficking and modern day slavery is nothing but a distant memory. A world where survivors have a reason to smile again, and where traffickers are brought to justice. We must stop this notion that you can order for a girl or a woman faster than you can order pizza. So let us stand together, united in our resolve, and let us be the change that we wish to see in the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you. That was beautiful. Thank you for that testimony. I'd now like to I'd now like to welcome Nazreen Sheikh, She is a survivor of modern slavery and a visionary leader committed to ending modern slavery through survivor-led initiatives. She has a profound and moving journey, which I myself heard as a TED Talk, and you can all listen to that if you haven't already. She is the founder of the Empowerment Collective, dedicated to ending modern slavery, and Local Women's Handicrafts, a women's business venture in Nepal. Please let us welcome Nasreen.
Namaste. I'm only here today because of several continuous miracles that occurred along my life path. A path that led me to this very moment with all of you. These miracles arrived as my unending childish curiosity to see what was beyond my own limitations. They arrived in friends who taught me the sovereignty of human life. They arrived in moments of sacred voices that told me to run or to reach out and grab the hand of a stranger to ask for help. But mostly they came in the courage to speak out about what I experienced and what I saw with my these two own eyes. I saw a psychological and physical abuse. I saw torture. I saw suicide. I saw the forced marriage of children. I saw rape. I saw women set themselves on fire. I saw murder. I saw a generational tradition of breeding some of the most poor and vulnerable souls on the earth, like livestock or undocumented labor forces, uneducated, untouchable people who are treated as a disposable labor. Modern slavery has taken my family from me, my community, my people. It took my father when his mind broke from the psychological stress, working for predatory labor agents as a welder. It took my mother in the shaming she received when I ran from my culture. It took my older sister when she was arranged for marriage at the age of 12 years old. And that is not just my story, it is the story of 22 million girls in forced marriage today, experiencing daily every moment. And there are at least 28 million men, women, and children in forced labor right now. I have been given the chance to speak out when many chose to not speak up. My message is a single grain of sand trying to become a pearl of hope for over 50 million people suffering in modern slavery right now. Currently, our world is experiencing countless wars and conflicts that claim thousands and thousands of lives. Greater darkness dwells in the depths of our own soul, an epidemic of apathy, As these 50 million people trapped in modern slavery experience gross human rights abuses, poisoning, torture, deportation, injuries, and death. The story of survivors like myself was forward to unveil a collective tragedy of unconscious genocide and ecocide embedded in our global economic system through our supply chains, and an unseen virus disproportionately targeting less developed countries and exploiting the most poor and vulnerable. Modern slavery is a universal pain, touching every caste, every religion, schools, government, villages, communities, and family, the entire world. This is because we are not just consuming the Earth's resources into a climate crisis, we are also simultaneously consuming each other into a extinction. My testimony, my story, my life as a survivor, these words that I'm speaking to you now, they had a very little chance of escaping the defining silence of modern slavery and finding this in this room today. But here we are together, survivors and global leaders, faith, hope, walking together, embracing inclusion and diversity into a horizon of solution, and that is a true miracle. The survivors have a vision, a solution, a table for everyone, a shining future for all of humanity, a kingdom of light where we cherish the most precious collective resources to humanity, our next generation, our children, allowing us to seize the opportunity to redistribute our greatest societal wealth collectively, our love for these children and the generation to inherit this earth from us. Let us ensure that in our future, every child on earth is given human rights to unlock the chains of restricting their potential to emerge as a living mythos for the next chapter of humankind's story, a story founded on transparency, empathy, humility, and a united love for the earth and all its precious resources. How we can rebuild broken trust, especially with a younger generation, to ensure continued connection. I encourage all people to see the issue of modern slavery for what it is, a global virus of unconscious consumption embedded into our supply chains and feed off our economic system. Humanity must find a way to a future where the end of modern slavery is celebrated as a global accomplishment of a united humanity through a global economic system of supply chain transparency. It is the only way for everyone to truly open their eyes and see. Father, forgive them for their Father, forgive them for they know not what they do. Luke 23, 34. I would like to ask for a global prayer of forgiveness for all of humanity. Forgive us for not seeing how we harm one another. Forgive us for how we harm the earth. Forgive us for how we have harmed our children.
Thank you, Nazreen, and thank you, Mary. I know that these are difficult personal stories of trauma that you recount to us, and we deeply, deeply appreciate you sharing them with us today. Thank you very much. I'm now pleased to invite Kevin Highland to the stage. Kevin is the UK's first independent anti-slavery commissioner. He was the first independent anti-slavery commissioner, member of the Santa Marta Group, and chair of Arise Foundation's trustees. He has dedicated his life on the front lines, first as a police officer, then as anti-slavery commissioner, and now advocating to end human trafficking and modern-day slavery. Please welcome Kevin Highland.
Sisters and guests here, can I first start off by thanking Nazreen for your wonderful sharing of what is clearly a very difficult situation. If we ever needed reminding of what needs to be done and why we do it, we heard tonight. So thank you so much. It is a pleasure to be here and an honor to be here with you at these awards. In one sense, it's a shame that this issue exists anywhere on our planet. But when we look at this problem that we face, and my experience, whether as a police officer, as the anti-slavery commissioner, as a representative of the Council of Europe, and many other issues that I've dealt with over the years, the front line is most definitely being filled and responded to by religious sisters, not just in a small way, but in a major way. And if we look at commitments around the world that we hear that are being made by this government, that government, or others, the quietness of the religious sisters collectively is committing more than any or even collective government. So for that, you should be very proud. And it's not something that you've just started in the last year or two. It's not something that you've started because it's fashionable. Many of you and many of your orders have been doing this for decades and even centuries. So recognizing the work that you do here is in only a small way of returning the thanks that you deserve. But I want to talk about some of my experiences of working with religious sisters in the roles that I have done. And of course, in Arise, working in India, Albania, Nigeria, and the Philippines, we see lives changed, girls given education, families rescued, people's first opportunity to get a job, people whose dignity is restructured. And it's not these awards. It's done because that's what you religious sisters and those working on the front line in Arise believe has to be done. It's what you wake up every day to do. But I've seen it firsthand. And when I see it firsthand, I very often, after a week or two, wherever I am, get on an aeroplane and return to my lovely family and my lovely surroundings in my home in Ireland. And I often think the sisters and the people in these environments are still there. And we need to support them and help them. But my time with the sisters started really back in 2010, when we were planning for the Olympics in London. What were we going to do? Trafficking was going to increase. Women who were working in prostitution on London streets were going to be an eyesore. And people were saying, we can't let London be an eyesore. But working with the Mercy Sisters, and then bringing in our National Health Service and others who wanted to work with religious sisters, we came up with a plan of giving dignity and creating ways that women who were vulnerable during those times, the Games and the Paralympics and the aftermath, could be given support as opposed to the revolving custody suite of a police station and the court. That model worked well, and it proved to me and proved to others what dignity looks like. But then I've also met girls from Eritrea who have been looked after religious sisters when they've traveled through the Lake Chad Basin and ended up in Libya and been raped and sold day after day because of the fear of what they're going to face in their own country, bought and sold and bought and sold until a fund can be found to put them on a dangerous vessel to arrive here in Italy. The only people who really looked after them were religious sisters. Or the adoratrices who helped me with many investigations in London and India, particularly in Hyderabad, to make sure that those who were trafficking and abusing girls and women and boys face justice. But just to show you how effective sisters are, I was heading a trial that was at the Central Criminal Court, which those who are in the UK or may know as the Old Bailey, a major trafficking gang from Nigeria. And we were absent a witness. We couldn't find the witness, a crucial witness. So I could do what's called a request through the government process in the UK and then into Nigeria. It would take 6 to 9 months. Well, the judge had given me 24 hours to find this witness. And I'd met many sisters from Nigeria. And one phone call to one sister in Benin City said, "I'll do my best, Kevin." 6 hours later, she found this witness. And I was able to return to court next day and say, that witness will be on a plane this afternoon. We sort out the visas and we'll be able to give evidence. Which resulted in the defendants changing their plea because they knew the case against them would get worse. They pleaded guilty. I thought, if I'd done that through the official channels, the case would have collapsed. The victim would have suffered again. No compensation. The perpetrator would have got away with it. And to me, that was the real proof that sisters aren't just there doing one part of this. They're doing every part. They're assisting in prosecutions to the other side of the world that they've never been to. When I asked the sister, how did you find that woman? She said, well, we spoke to a few relatives and then we drove 3 hours to a church where we knew this woman might be sleeping on the steps and we found her. And I thought, if I'd had a team of 100 detectives on this, they couldn't have achieved this. So I am indebted to religious sisters around the world for the work they have done. I think the work that you do at the front line is so important. And the other thing to remember is that your work is consistent. Governments change. In the United Kingdom, since the introduction of the legislation, there's been 5 prime ministers and a similar amount of home secretaries. We've still got the same pope. Many of the sisters here have been doing this work for much, much longer than that. So what the church brings and what religious sisters bring is that deep understanding, that deep knowledge, but ultimately doing it because it's the right thing to do and it's about human dignity. And as we heard from Nazreen, who said it so well, it's about changing lives. But we must never forget that human trafficking, again, as Nazreen said, doesn't just affect the person, but it does affect families, communities, and in fact, whole nations. So thank you from me for what you're doing. I hope in my own way I can support much more of the work you do. Whenever I've travelled and I get to stay with religious sisters, I always come away feeling energized and having had lots to eat and lots of fun, really. But I do leave on a plane and go back somewhere very safe, whereas the sisters remain there. And I think we should never forget that. And I'm wholeheartedly delighted and honoured to be able to be part of this event tonight and to really see people who deserve these awards to receive them. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Kevin. And thank you for all of your work. We have now come to the moment for our keynote address. I am pleased to introduce Sister Natalie Beckhart. Sister Natalie is the Undersecretary for the General Secretariat for the Synod of Bishops. She is the first woman to hold that role. She was appointed by Pope Francis in 2021. Would you join me, please, in welcoming Sister Natalie Beckhart?
Good evening, buonasera, bonsoir. I was asked to speak in French. On m'a demandé de parler français, donc je vais parler français. Peut-être certains auront besoin de la traduction. Chers frères et sœurs en Christ, vous tous qui êtes ici, d'abord et avant tout, j'aimerais vous remercier et remercier Talitha Koum de m'avoir invité à continuer cette marche avec vous et à vivre cet important événement. Je voudrais remercier aussi tous ceux qui contribuent à ce réseau Talitha Koum, ceux et celles qui nous suivent en ligne. Votre engagement nous engage. Votre engagement contre cette blessure profonde de l'humanité que constitue la traite des personnes nous invite peut-être avant tout à accueillir dans le silence les cris et les souffrances de ceux qui traversent cette situation. Mais nous sommes là aussi pour voir toutes ces petites lumières de ceux et celles, en particulier les religieuses, qui face à ce drame ne baissent pas les bras, mais s'engagent pour combattre cette traite. Et je voudrais particulièrement féliciter mes sœurs religieuses qui vont être reconnues, récompensées ce soir, et à travers elles, qui sont pour nous des témoins qui nous inspirent, qui nous encouragent à aller de l'avant. Et cet engagement nous engage en nous invitant, comme peut-être tous ceux qui étaient rassemblés ces derniers jours pour l'Assemblée générale de Talitha Koum, qui ont eu l'expérience en ce temps de Pentecôte d'accueillir, je cite votre déclaration, l'Esprit Saint qui nous encourage à persévérer dans l'éradication de la traite des êtres humains afin de créer un avenir que tous aient la vie en abondance. Fin de citation. En venant ici ce soir, en continuant à écouter les témoignages de personnes victimes de la traite, je pense particulièrement à une jeune femme que nous avions écoutée au début du synode des jeunes. Si nous vivons aujourd'hui ce synode sur la synodalité pour une église synodale, communion, participation, mission, c'est parce que en 2018, quand il y a eu un synode sur les jeunes, la foi et le discernement vocationnel, a émergé comme fruit la synodalité comme manière d'être église aujourd'hui. Et je ne peux oublier que ce synode des jeunes et ce qui en est ressorti, qui nous pousse en avant aujourd'hui a été particulièrement marqué et nourri par le pré-synode des jeunes. J'ai eu la chance de vivre ce pré-synode des jeunes en mars 2018, qui s'est ouvert par une rencontre avec le pape François, qui est venu rencontrer les 300 jeunes du monde entier qui ont vécu cette semaine de pré-synode. Et je ne sais pas si certains ou certaines s'en souviennent, la première question posée au pape François par un jeune, en l'occurrence une jeune, lors de cette ouverture du pré-synode, c'était Blessing Ougedion, nigériane, survivante de la traite. Et elle avait très fortement interpellé le pape François de cette manière, en expliquant son parcours dans lequel elle avait trouvé par la foi courage de dénoncer et de sortir de cet enfer. Et je cite, elle disait, « Dans une communauté de religieuses, j'ai trouvé ma résurrection ». Et elle avait adressé cette question au pape François. Comment pouvons-nous aider les jeunes à prendre conscience de ce crime contre l'humanité, comme vous l'avez appelé, vous, le pape François? Comment pouvons-nous les aider à rester humains, à contrer et à surmonter une mentalité malade qui réduit les femmes à des esclaves, à la propriété des hommes, à une marchandise, ou à un profit, ou à un plaisir égoïste? Et le pape, en lui répondant, avait souligné combien oui, c'est un crime qui vient d'une mentalité malade qui considère que la femme doit être exploitée. Et le pape disait, aujourd'hui encore, il n'y a pas de féminisme qui ait réussi à enlever cela de la conscience, de l'inconscient le plus profond ou de l'imaginaire collectif, disons. Oui, ce qui explique cette maladie de l'humanité, c'est une maladie d'une pensée sociale. Et cette cérémonie, ce soir, des Awards contre le trafic humain, se tient à l'occasion de la deuxième assemblée générale de Talitha Koum. Et dans la dynamique du synode, qui est un processus d'écoute, je me suis préparée à venir vous rencontrer en écoutant, en lisant ce que vous avez vécu à travers la synthèse de votre chemin synodal et votre déclaration finale. Et ce qui m'a touchée, que je voudrais souligner maintenant, c'est certains points essentiels qui ont émergé au cours de votre assemblée comme des clés pour faire face à la réalité de la traite des personnes dans le monde d'aujourd'hui, sont en pleine résonance avec ce que l'Église est en train de vivre dans cette marche ensemble du synode. J'ai été frappée et touchée de voir combien cette marche ensemble que vous expérimentez à Talitha Koum et avec tous ceux, les partenaires, les collaborateurs, les compagnons de marche qui sont aussi ici ce soir, qui vous permettent de cheminer ensemble pour mettre fin à la traite des êtres humains en prenant le style de la compassion en action pour la transformation. Oui, tout cela résonne de manière forte avec la dynamique synodale qui est à l'œuvre actuellement dans l'Église. Je reçois donc l'honneur d'être avec vous ce soir en ce moment marquant pour votre réseau comme un cadeau, parce que depuis 15 ans, Talitha Koum porte de nombreux germes de synodalité et a ouvert des manières novatrices de vivre la mission en articulant notamment une manière de travailler en réseau qui combine le plus local, l'importance de l'action au niveau local, des dynamiques régionales et le global. Et ceci touche une des questions clés du synode actuel. que nous exprimons entre ces deux sessions de cette manière. Comment être une Église synodale en mission qui articule ces trois niveaux, l'Église locale, les regroupements régionaux d'Églises ou le niveau régional de la synodalité et le lien avec le niveau global romain. Votre histoire et votre projet mettent en lumière une belle manière de vivre l'unité dans et par la diversité, quelque chose que nous sommes tous en train d'apprendre à vivre mieux et à approfondir. Talita Koum a certainement beaucoup à partager avec l'Église d'une manière plus large. En même temps, votre invitation à partager ce temps ce soir avec vous est aussi l'occasion de mettre en lumière ce que je pense dans les documents mentionnés précédemment, comme ce que vous avez identifié d'un appel à aller plus loin sur le chemin de la synodalité. En fait, la plupart des enjeux que vous mettez en avant dans la synthèse de votre chemin synodal résonnent avec des chapitres et des thématiques du rapport de synthèse du synode. J'en cite quelques-uns. L'écoute, le travail en réseau avec d'autres, le désir de marcher avec les survivants. Et vous savez combien ce synode a mis au centre depuis le début l'importance d'écouter les plus pauvres, les plus souffrants, les sans-voix, les victimes de toutes sortes d'abus. L'enjeu de rendre les femmes protagonistes, la place des jeunes qui sont toujours moteurs de synodalité, mais aussi ce que vous soulignez de l'enjeu de prendre en compte l'impact du numérique, ce qui se déploie à la fois en positif, mais aussi beaucoup de manière négative. Ça correspond aussi à tout un chapitre et un enjeu de réflexion très fort actuellement. Comment vivre la mission de l'Église dans l'environnement numérique? Alors, j'ai reçu vos trois priorités en consonance avec ces trois mots-clés du synode: communion, participation, mission. Votre priorité numéro 1, d'affronter les changements systémiques face aux nouvelles vulnérabilités, c'est une manière de vivre la mission que vous mettez en premier. Vous démarrez par l'écoute des expériences du terrain. C'est vraiment le point de départ de la méthode synodale. Partager les différentes réalités du terrain. Et vous avez d'ailleurs intégré la méthodologie du synode, la conversation dans l'esprit. J'espère que ce n'est pas seulement dans l'Assemblée générale, mais que ça pourra irriguer aussi des manières de faire à différents niveaux, pas seulement pour nous dans l'Église, mais aussi pour la société. Je voudrais aussi souligner comment dans cette priorité numéro 1, vous vous engagez à donner aux femmes, aux enfants et aux jeunes les moyens d'accéder à des sociétés plus justes et plus équitables et à aborder de manière concrète ce qui peut être objet de transformation sociale, économique, culturelle et politique pour démanteler tout ce qui contribue à la traite. Vous soulignez particulièrement cet enjeu d'écouter les victimes, partir du cri et du visage des personnes qui souffrent de la traite. Ce que nous avons vécu ce soir nous redit l'importance de nous laisser toucher et d'entendre ces cris en mettant au centre les personnes. J'entends votre priorité numéro 2 pour une approche holistique et centrée sur les survivants, en grande consonance avec ce mot-clé du synode qui est la participation. Vous dites dans un des rapports des pays, celui de l'Albanie, les survivants sont la première motivation du travail de Talita Koum. La joie et l'espoir se lisent dans les yeux des survivants qui reconstruisent leur vie. quand nous marchons avec ces personnes, nous comprenons toujours davantage comment ce grand don du mystère pascal, qui nous dit que la vie est toujours plus forte que la mort. Et tout le processus synodal d'une marche à l'écoute de l'esprit, en marchant avec le Christ, est un processus qui nous fait entrer toujours davantage dans le mystère pascal pour renaître à la vie. Enfin, je souligne cette consonance de votre troisième priorité, élargir la collaboration et les partenariats avec ce mot-clé de communion. Et j'ai été frappée par ce que vous mettez en avant de cet enjeu, cette conscience, comme vous dites, que nous ne sommes pas seuls, que ce travail ne peut être accompli de manière isolée. Au sein de Talitha Koum, cela signifie diversifier nos membres et multiplier nos impacts. Talitha Koum existe aujourd'hui grâce à l'engagement courageux et durable des femmes religieuses et de leurs collaboratrices. Enracinés dans leurs témoignages de prière, nous considérons les laïcs, le clergé et les jeunes comme la clé de la viabilité à long terme de notre travail pour mettre fin à la traite des personnes. Ce que vous exprimez et vivez ici est au cœur de ce que je perçois du chemin de conversion que nous fait vivre la synodalité, en particulier pour nous religieuses, de réaliser toujours davantage combien nous ne pouvons pas seulement travailler entre nous, mais que nous avons à vivre ces relations de réciprocité, de collaboration avec tous les autres. Peut-être le point le plus important que nous apprenons à travers tout ce processus synodal, c'est l'importance des autres, de ceux qui ne sont pas comme nous. Et donc, renforcer ce travail en réseau en impliquant toute la diversité que vous nommez me semble absolument capital dans ce chemin de transformation synodale que nous vivons, en particulier ce que vous soulignez de cet enjeu de marcher avec les laïcs et notamment les jeunes. Et je conclus en voulant rendre grâce avec vous pour tout ce qui se vit dans ce réseau dans lequel vous portez et mettez aussi en avant la dimension spirituelle, c'est-à-dire aussi dans ce combat contre la traite des personnes, l'importance de la prière, d'une action enracinée dans l'écoute de la parole de Dieu. Et cet élan spirituel qui s'accumule dans l'action sur le terrain, c'est aussi le cadeau que vous offrez à tous ceux qui portent cette mission avec vous, que ce soit des laïcs, des jeunes ou d'autres personnes. Alors, ma prière pour vous tous et unis ce soir, c'est d'être des prophètes d'espérance dans un monde qui en a tellement besoin. In fine, comme nous l'avons dit, le but du synode, ce n'est pas d'écrire des documents. Votre assemblée a produit des beaux documents, des belles déclarations, mais au-delà des documents, c'est une expérience. Ce temps fort et ce qui va être mis en lumière par la reconnaissance d'un engagement concret des personnes qui vont être récompensées ce soir, continue à nous inspirer et à nous donner de l'élan pour être ces pèlerins d'espérance qui luttent contre toutes les formes d'esclavage dans le monde. Parce que Dieu n'a pas d'autres mains que les nôtres, n'a pas d'autre cœur que le nôtre, n'a pas d'autres pieds que les nôtres pour annoncer la vie plus forte que la mort dans ce monde. Merci.
Thank you, Sister Natalie. We are honored by your presence with us here this evening, and thank you for that insightful keynote address. Sister Natalie is working tirelessly on the synodal path, and we thank you also for your dedication to a synodal church. Time for the awards. Let me give you a little bit of background on how our winners tonight were chosen. In January of this year, Arise, UISG, and Hilton put out a call for nominees, and they received 120 highly qualified nominations. So it was up to the selection committee to whittle those down to our winners this evening. The selection committee was made up of 5 women from the anti-trafficking and anti-slavering space. 2 of them are here with us this evening. So Sister Jane and Francesco Donna, would you please stand up so we can thank you for being part of the selection committee? Sister Jane Wakahue, Francesca Donna is over here. And I'd also like to mention the other 3 women who were on the selection committee. They're not here with us, but we thank them equally. Sister Jyoti Pinto, Joanne Deals, Sister Theodosia Baki. Thank you for your time and your expertise in selecting our winners. The prizes are here next to me. You will see there is a beautiful statue, a prism with the SATA name, the name of the laureate, and the name of the award on it. They will also receive a beautiful scarf. These scarves are made from an organization called New Hope, which is an ethnic tailoring workshop where young migrant women can choose to, quote, pick up the thread of their lives frayed by the experience of trafficking, a beautiful scarf which they have made. And of course, they will also be receiving $20,000 to put to the anti-trafficking work or institution of their choice. So we thank our hosts for that wonderful award. Our first award this evening is called the Common Good Award. Despite adverse conditions, sometimes scarce resources, sisters' resourcefulness and dedication are leading to effective and sustainable work against trafficking the world over. This laureate has demonstrated creativity and courage in her anti-trafficking interventions, working with marginalized communities despite constant challenges. To present the Common Good Award on behalf of Arise, please welcome John Studinsky, CBE, founding president of Arise.
Thank you very much. I'm honored to be here, and I'm, given the state of the world right now, there's nothing but disruption in the world in terms of the number of elections, the number of dictators, the number of authoritarian governments. And the 3 people we're honoring this evening are, in my mind, very strong symbols of hope. And we've heard extraordinary testimonies, and we know the power of this room, and we know the power of Talitha Kum. And we're going to celebrate that power this evening. Now I'm going to announce the winner of the Common Good Award. It's about creativity and innovation in dealing with exploitation. I'd like you to hold your applause until after the winner comes up here and I say a few words about her. And then we're going to have a brief video about her extraordinary work. The Common Good Award is presented to Sister Grace Luisa Rodriguez. Now, don't be fooled. Don't be fooled. This very sort of understated, relatively sort of demure character is nothing to do with the fact that this extraordinary sister in her work has shown courage. She's stared down criminals. She's been brave. She's been decisive. She's been bold. And today, when I was at our beautiful Mass this morning at the chair of St. Peter, listening to Cardinal Czerny's sermon, I looked up and saw the Holy Spirit. And if you remember in the scriptures how the Holy Spirit inspired the apostles to pause and the Holy Spirit would tell you what to say, I'm absolutely convinced that the extraordinary work of Talitha Kum, it's the Holy Spirit inspiring and giving the sisters strength in the work they do, which is transformational in this world. So congratulations, Sister Rodriguez. I'm so pleased to present this award to you. And now we're going to hear a brief video, but please come up and join us on the stage.
I'm Christy Gacy Rodriguez, and this is my story. Goa is a beautiful place.
Let's put the scarf on first.
The nature, the beauty, the different cultures of people. In Goa, many children are kidnapped, put in the profession of beggary, child labor. We sisters are involved in empowering the children. Education plays an important role in the lives of our children. Good morning, students. By educating them, we help them to be safe from illicit trafficking of children. This is all people who are migrated from different parts of India. The living condition in slums are very bad. The people are very, very poor. The water, the sanitation is also bad. So we work for their empowerment. We also train the women so that they earn at small scale their own livelihood. The women now have confidence to take this forward to sustain their lives. I have been in Goa for 5 years and I see the situation, drug abuse, murder, rape, and Goa being the destination state for sex trafficking is becoming worse and worse day by day. But there is a hope. I see a light that gives life to the humanity through our network, collaboration with the police, and our supportive systems. The beacon of hope can be brought in the lives of the victims of human trafficking. That whatever the cases has come, we did got justice for the victims of human trafficking. I cannot do it alone. I am just a drop in the ocean. So I need others' support, others' collaboration. And my first and immediate supporters are my sisters. And above all, it is God to bring hope, love, and mercy to the people. Here in my convent, we share our works, our mission. We participate in each other's joys and sorrows. So it is very important for all the religious, for all of us, that we collaborate in every field, in every ministry which we are involved with. So together as a community, we are working together and we respond to the call which God has given us.
Respected members of UIST, Hilton Conrad Foundation, Arise Foundation, and all my friends gathered here. I stand before you today deeply humbled and grateful to my God for the wonders He works in our lives. Friends, I am unworthy of such recognition bestowed upon me. Yes, this acknowledgement is not just a personal achievement, it's a testament to the collective efforts of key stakeholders such as organizations, individuals, my own Canossian family, church institutions, government and non-government organizations, police officials, and importantly, Amrit Dalita Kumbh India, with whom I collaborate in this mission. This battle, this cause is not just a mission, it's a moral imperative, a call to action that resonates with the very essence of humanity. What drives me? What fuels my commitment and passion to this cause is the unwavering belief in the inherent dignity and worth of every human being. Human trafficking strips individuals of their most basic rights, their freedom, and their dignity. Yes, it's our own dear Canossian sister saint, Saint Josephine Bakita, our universal sister, who has been a key source of inspiration to me. My Canossian charism impels me to follow Christ crucified in his suffering victims of frontline ministries. On 2000 August 2010, I was challenged by Sister Jyoti Pinto, who started Amrit Kalitakum in India. She said, Grace, you have Saint Josephine Bakita from your very own congregation, and it's your own turn now to join this forum. And there onwards, my dear friends, my journey begins to work for the victims of human trafficking, be it in preventive approach, rescue operation, rehabilitation, accompanying the victims to the doctor, counseling, home enquiry report, accompanying them to the courts for hearing, compensation schemes, advocacy, legal investigation, or legal investigations. I heard the cry of Maya, a minor child of 16 years, during my first rescue operation in the red light area of Kamatipura, Mumbai. She said to me, Didi, if you had come few hours early, I would have been saved from this horror, abuse, and exploitation. Last night, I was abused by 12 customers in this brothel. Imagine, my dear friends, a 16 years old child who was abused by 12 customers per night. Friends, my recent rescue operation has been last month. Along with the police officials, we rescued 9 minor girls from the fishery industry. Much horror, exploitation, abuse, and destruction of life. But in the face of such darkness, we find hope because, true to the Holy Father's exhortation, each of us is called to be a pilgrim, journeying with the others, especially those on the periphery. We find hope in survivors through their resilience, summon up courage despite the horrors they endure. We find hope in the power of collective action and collective voice, in the knowledge that when we stand together, we can effect real and lasting change. Finally, let me say, human trafficking is a network crying, and to fight against it is not easy task. It is a long and arduous journey. fraught with setbacks, challenges, and risks. But with God's grace, it is a journey worth taking, a cause worth fighting for. Through compassion in action, I want to fight this battle. I want to take one step at a time, one victory at a time, thus enhancing their lives for a better living. And yes, my compassionate loving will bring about transformation in society, of course, with God's grace. Yes, together we can build a future where every individual can live with dignity, freedom, and hope. I take this special opportunity to thank our Holy Father, Pope Francis, the church institutions, Arise Foundation, UISG, Conrad Hilden Foundation, Mr. Andrew Sarianos and Satish from Picture Perfect Foundation, who have designed this beautiful video, all my collaborators and my Conversion congregation, my Mother General, Sister Sandra Maggiolo, and her team, who is present here, my Provincial, Sister Audrey D'Souza, and her council, who have always accompanied me in this mission. And here too, is present, gracing this occasion. Thank you, one and all. God bless.
Our next award is the Servant Leadership Award for Excellence in Network Building. To present the Servant Leadership Award on behalf of UISG, I welcome once again to the stage President of UISG, Sister Mary Barron. Today, as we honor those who exemplify courage, creativity, and unwavering commitment to protecting vulnerable persons and communities from exploitation, it is my great privilege to introduce the Servant Leadership Award, in which we honor an exceptional sister who has made a profound impact, who possesses a unique ability to lead through service. Our Servant Leadership Award winner has not only built networks, also fostered collaboration across cultures and religions. She has helped weave a tapestry of hope, connecting hearts and hands in the fight against trafficking. Servant leaders share the vision, communicate the mission, the purpose, and the values. Servant leaders facilitate engagement. They encourage collaboration and create effective and lasting partnerships. Servant leaderships champion resources, helping everyone to have the tools and the support needed for success. It takes courage and commitment to lead with service at the forefront. And it takes courage and abundance to be a servant leader in a struggle to eradicate human trafficking. It is my great pleasure to announce the winner of tonight's Servant Leadership Award. And our Servant Leadership winner tonight is Sister Anne Victory from the Sisters of the Humility of Mary.
Before we present the award, let's take a moment to enjoy the video that has been made to honor Sister Anne. Thank you. Welcome to. Thank you.
I'm Sister Anne Victory, a sister of the Humility of Mary, and this is my story. My full-time ministry at the moment is serving on the leadership team for the Sisters of the Humility of Mary. And I also volunteer for the Collaborative to End Human Trafficking as a speaker. Trafficking, we know, is an epidemic worldwide, and it's our responsibility as fellow human beings to address it. Those who are being trafficked, they are not respected. They are not even thought of as persons. It's our obligation to address their needs. We've served in a variety of ministries over the years, primarily women and children services in healthcare and social services, and a lot of justice work. We became connected with Talitha Kum in 2013, and because of that connection, we have now a way to be connected internationally with people who are doing this kind of work. The Alliance to End Human Trafficking has regularly gone to our annual meeting, and part of that visit is always going to Capitol Hill and speaking to our senators and representatives. They need to be the ones to help strengthen the laws that are in place and enforce the laws that are in place. My primary way to address my own well-being in the face of human trafficking is to turn to prayer, which I do regularly. I never want to become not passionate about it or not caring about it. I'm glad that I feel the issue every time I encounter it. I don't do any of this alone. Many of my sisters are involved in the work in some way. We had to do it together because we kept learning how big it was and how impossible it was to do it just by ourselves. I hope that we will all continue to work together to end the terrible crime of human trafficking for the sake of God's people.
Okay. You need to pick a spot. Go ahead. And here's the spot, sister. So now we will your laureate, Sister Anne Victory.
Well, good evening, and thank you to all of you. I can't tell you how shocked I was to be told I'm receiving this award. There are so many in our global sisterhood who, in my eyes, are much more deserving of an award like this. I'm certainly grateful to God, of course, for the energy and the inspiration to do this kind of work, for the support of my congregation, the Sisters of the Humility of Mary, and the support that they have given, the encouragement they have given, and the financial support as well along the way to be able to do this. Each day I've been involved in the work, I've been challenged, I've been inspired, and I continue to find energy to do more. When we were founded in Cleveland, Ohio, the Collaborative to End Human Trafficking was really a group of women religious and our friends in the area who heard the term, and we were shocked. We had no idea what it was. So it took us time to learn, and we decided there was no way to do it alone. We better find a way to do it together. So that's what we were about. We determined that our main goals would be to raise awareness, first of all, because if you don't know, you can't do anything. So education and awareness. And then advocacy, of course, changing the law, getting stronger laws, advocating for those who are victims of this crime, and then connecting services on behalf of trafficked persons. We didn't see ourselves necessarily as the 70 plus years of age around the table, being able to do this by ourselves. We knew, though, because of our connections, that there were people that we work with every day who are touching the lives of persons who are trafficked, and they don't know it. So the education was not only in schools, certainly there, but it was also in the healthcare services. It was the police force. It was the judges. It was the hotels. It was so many. I am very pleased to say that the collaborative in Cleveland, which I volunteer for now instead of and employed by them, has over 75 local organizations with whom they are working. We learned collaboration, audaciously naming ourselves the collaborative, because we had to learn. We had to figure out what that really means. And what it means to us was coming together for a common mission. Even though we might disagree or not work together on some things, this is the common mission. We will bring our best gifts to address the issue together, because that's the only way to do it. Then because of that involvement, I was invited in 2013 to come to Washington, D.C. to meet with sisters doing the work across our country. And there was a gathering of us, and we didn't necessarily know each other, but we were invited by a visionary named Sister Margaret Nackey, whom some of you may know because she's been involved internationally, and Sister Ann Schultz, who at that point was working with LCWR as their justice person. They invited us, and we were inspired by one another to figure out what we could do together across our vast country to bring people together around this mission and share resources across the boundaries. And we found that to continue to provide services in a manner that was definitely trauma informed, and paying attention to how we might weave that safety net together for the sake of those who are so vulnerable to such great suffering. I am amazed and grateful for all those who generously focus on the mission of ending human trafficking, those who bring their best to the effort, so that together we can truly make a difference in the work of eradicating this crime from the face of the earth. Most of all, I would say I am in awe of the strength and the resilience of those who have suffered such trauma in the face of this horrendous crime. Those victims whom I have met have been my teachers, and they continue to inspire me and encourage me. In this season of Pentecost, I pray that we all may be enlivened with a new energy to continue this essential work for the sake of all God's people, proclaiming the dignity of each one that we encounter each day. May we take heart from those who have gone before us, those who have persisted, and those who continue to combine efforts to renew the face of the earth. Thank you to all who have sponsored this event, to all my colleagues engaged in this work in my own country, in my own city of Cleveland, Ohio, and across the world. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Our final award this evening is the Human Dignity Award. Human dignity is for lifetime achievement in addressing exploitation. The effectiveness of sisters' anti-trafficking work is often due to their familiarity with local customs and vulnerabilities and the trust they have from local communities. This award goes to a sister who has been committed to the fight against human trafficking for at least 15 years and whose work has proven highly impactful and sustainable. This laureate has been working diligently for over 3 decades in a volatile global region. To present the Human Dignity Award on behalf of the Conrad N. Hilton Foundation, I invite Hilton Associate Vice President of Program Operations and Head of Catholic Sisters, Sister Jane Wakahue.
Thank you, Dahlia. So we are gathered here today because all believe and that we have a common responsibility towards ending human trafficking in our communities and in our society. And we are gathered again here today to honor women who have done incredible work, women who can teach us how to do it. It is my honor to present the Human Dignity Award to a Catholic sister who has demonstrated compassion, tenderness, and commitment in elevating human dignity of one life at a time. A woman who can have contributed significantly in building the first shelter in Syria to house survivors of trafficking, creating the first hotline so that those who are victims can be able to be rescued, building schools so that those in prison can have education and can be supported. She is a sister who serves in a region that experiences conflict, and in times of conflict, children, youth, and families are vulnerable and at risk of trafficking. I can describe this sister as her incredible work of activism, advocacy, awareness raising, survivor support, and education as a true prophet in a region where she stands in her faith to give hope to survivors. A woman who demonstrates resilience, commitment, hard work, and gives hope amidst challenges. Sister, your embodiment of compassion, fraternal love, and prophetic witness in restoring dignity for survivors is worth to mention. Thank you. You are a woman who heals the brokenhearted, binds their wounds, and gives them new life when they cannot see hope. I am honored to present the Lifetime Award of Human Dignity to Sister Mary Charge.
Here's sister. Give her the award and then we'll watch the video. First the award.
أنا الأخت ماري كلود نداف من رهبة الراعي الصالح وهي قصة لبنان في يد الحضارات والجمال الطبيعي ولكن بسبب الحروب والمشاكل الاجتماعية أصبحنا نعاني من مشكلات كبيرة ومنها آفة الإتجار بالبشر ولكن لسوء الحظ تعتبر آفة محرم الحكي عنها وتعتبر كذب. الإبصار بالبصر هو أكبر آفة عالمية، يعني اجتاحت العالم، وأكثر شيء اللي هن بيتأثروا من الموضوع هن المهمشين والفئة الفقيرة الضعيفة، وبكل أنحاء العالم، وبطال النساء والأطفال. حقيقة مهمة تلتكم انترناسيونال هو مسيرة معا من أجل تحرير الإنسان من عبودية الإتجار بالبشر. Voice of Hope ينابيع الأمل هي فسحة أمان لحتى يشيل العوائق من درب الضحايا حتى يوصلوا لكرامتهم. Voice of Hope ينابيع الأمل إحنا اختبرنا ساعدنا ما يقارب 40 حالة على مدى 4 سنوات. مهمتنا بلبنان بسوريا بالأردن وبمصر ما بتقتصر على جلسات التوعية، ولكن نحب نطالب الإنسان ككل، الشفاء الجسدي النفسي الاجتماعي، ومنقوم بدورات تدريب تمكين للنساء حتى يعيشوا بكرامة. عشت لحظات فرح وسلام وانتصار. كل مرة كنت أحصل على موافقات لتحرير إحدى الفتيات. حبي المشرف لرسالتي كراهبة الراعي الصالح يجعل قلبي ما بيرتاح إلا عند اللقاء بهالخروف الضال المجروح، وهالخروف هو حقيقة كل فتاة وكل امرأة هو ضحية إتجار، ضحية هالعبودية. أنا بقول الرب هو ينير طريقي، الرب هو مصباحي، وإذا حياتي ممكن تكون شمعة صغيرة على درب أي إنسان، هيدا بيملأ قلبي فرح وبمجد الرب. شكر للرب. Merci beaucoup. Sincèrement, je vous le dis, tout a été mystérieux dans mon histoire, dans le film, dans ce film, dans tout ce que j'ai pu vivre ces derniers temps. Tout était mystérieux. Bon, je ne savais pas ce qui va se passer. Et actuellement, en voyant ces dames avec des discours extraordinaires, je me disais, mais toi, Marie-Claude, qu'est-ce que tu fais? Pourquoi tu es là? Qu'est-ce que tu as fait pour être là? Et puis, tout d'un coup, les paroles d'un père de l'Église qui disait les paroles de la bouche n'éteignent que l'oreille, l'ouïe. Mais les paroles du cœur vont au cœur. Donc, je vous prie de recevoir dans votre cœur tout ce qui garantit ma vie. C'est Dieu qui a été le dynamisme de ma vie et qui m'a toujours guidée, qui m'a toujours poussée. Et puis, peut-être un secret, la congrégation m'a donné une année de sabbatique. Et durant cette année, je devais relire ma vie. Et puis, à la fin, mon accompagnatrice, elle me dit, tu veux lire tes notes? Je dis oui. Elle me dit, est-ce que tu vas trouver ton nom à travers ce que tu as. J'ai pris, et en effet, mon nom était éveilleuse de vie. Éveiller la vie, faire jaillir la vie de profondeur, mais faire jaillir l'eau de source, ça vous demande beaucoup, beaucoup à défricher une terre, à enlever les cailloux qui sont devant vous pour faire jaillir la vie. Et c'est ça l'histoire, c'est ça mon contact, c'est ça mon approche avec toutes les personnes que j'ai rencontrées tout au long de ma vie. En tant que sœur du bon pasteur, allez à la recherche. Ne laissez pas l'autre venir à vous, mais allez à la recherche de celui qui n'est pas dans le bercail. Tu vas aller le chercher ailleurs. Tu vas te salir. Tu vas passer par les ronces. Et c'est là que tu vas aller le chercher. Et ce charisme que ma congrégation, et je veux dire aussi que j'ai appris dans ma famille, aller vers l'autre pour faire jaillir la vie dans les autres. Et puis, il ne s'agit pas simplement de trouver la brebis. La brebis est entre les ronces. À ce moment-là, il faut que tu te baisses. Il faut que tu sois au même niveau, que tu puisses frayer, lui enlever tout ce qui lui fait mal. Ensuite, tu peux la prendre et elle se laisse prendre. Et ensuite, tu la mets là et tu marches. Mais ce qui est merveilleux, et ce que le pape François nous a dit, vous ne pouvez pas être ni devant, ni derrière. Vous devez être au milieu de votre troupeau. C'est vrai, vous avez une mission de guider, vous avez une mission de dire et d'annoncer. Mais si vous ne sentez pas l'odeur de vos brebis, vous ne pourrez pas comprendre la souffrance qu'elles ont vécue. Et ensuite, tu dois être aussi en arrière, parce qu'il y a la brebis qui boite, il y a la brebis qui n'arrive pas à se lancer. Alors toi, tu vas l'aider à rejoindre le troupeau. Et c'est ça, la mission de Jésus, de bon pasteur. Et c'est là, la mission, c'est l'histoire du bon pasteur, mais aussi nous, en tant queAlitacum, Webs of Hope et de l'Église, nous travaillons dans des situations, dans des cultures très différentes, des religions très différentes. Moi, il y a des équipes de 4 pays qui sont ici. Moi, je voudrais aussi remercier Sœur Cécile de la Jordanie, Sœur Jeannette de l'Égypte et nos collègues de la Syrie, 2 dames, une avocate et doctora Thérèse, qui sont les, je ne peux pas vous dire quoi, elles sont les animateurs, les créateurs, la réalisation du rêve. Alors, moi, je vais les remercier sincèrement du travail, parce que moi, je ne peux rien faire toute seule. Moi, je ne peux rien faire toute seule. Croyez-moi, pour travailler, pour aider, et nous venons grâce à Dieu, de fêter depuis 3 jours le retour de l'une de nos victimes après avoir passé 15 ans dans la servitude et dans l'angoisse et dans la violence. Depuis 3 jours, cette personne est rentrée dans son pays. Et cela, c'est grâce aux collègues, aux sœurs, aux dames qui travaillent avec nous et qui ont travaillé des heures et des heures, qui ont eu ce qui est important pour nous en Orient, ce qu'il faut savoir, parler à une culture de différentes confessions religieuses avant et d'autres religions et être c'est créer, créer beaucoup de liens, beaucoup d'approches, beaucoup d'amitié, beaucoup de, comment je veux dire, de rencontres, aider les gens à se rencontrer, aider les gens à faire réveiller ce qui est le plus beau, que ce soit dans toutes les religions. C'est pourquoi nous n'avons pas peur dans nos pays, parce que nous savons qu'il y a beaucoup d'hommes et de femmes de bonne volonté qui travaillent avec nous. Je vous remercie et sincèrement, je ne peux pas vous dire, je suis très surprise, mais je rends grâce au Seigneur parce que c'est lui qui inspire, celui qui aide, celui qui travaille. Dans notre session, nous avons beaucoup travaillé sur la transformation par la compassion, passer de la compassion à l'action. Mais vous savez, le mot en arabe, qu'est-ce que ça veut dire? Compassion, c'est-à-dire travailler de réanime les entrailles. Et c'est dans les entrailles qu'on peut engendrer une vie. Et si nos collègues dans notre pays ne travaillent pas là, nous ne pouvons pas donner la vie. Et les autres ne nous accepteraient pas. Je vous remercie beaucoup et je suis très contente. Merci.
Well, I think that's a wonderful, inspirational note to end on. Thank you, Sister Marie-Claude. Congratulations again to all three of our laureates, Sister Gracie Rodriguez, Sister Anne Victory, and Sister Marie-Claude Nadaf, and indeed to the superiors who have accompanied them this evening. Your witness and your achievements are an inspiration to us. And of course, you stand here tonight as representatives, as you have all said, of a much larger network. And that collective effort is what we are celebrating tonight. I think we owe a round of applause also to our wonderful hosts, the RISE Foundation, the UISG, and the Conrad and Hilton Foundation. Thank you for your generosity in offering these awards. May I also say our deepest thanks to our panelists, Mary Mugo, Nazreen Sheikh, Kevin Highland. Thank you for your important contributions tonight. And thanks to all of you for coming here to be with us and to celebrate this important event. As we say here in Italy, grazie e buona serata. Thank you and good evening. Sister Grace.
Recording stopped.